The following is a special feature presentation from Ahead of the Herd. The information contained in this video is based on information about companies and persons that is publicly available. Information provided in this video is general in nature and does not constitute attempts at financial advice. Any statements, estimates, projections and opinions may prove to be substantially inaccurate, and are inherently subject to significant risks and uncertainties beyond our control. Please review our complete disclaimer available at www.aheadoftheherd.com. In this episode, the on-site team travels to Stewart, BC, to take a closer look at Mountain Boy Minerals project on American Creek. The American Creek project has district-scale potential for both ages of mineralization. It is strategically located amongst many world-class deposits, including the historic Premier Mine, 11 kilometers to the southwest, and the Big Missouri, 3 kilometers to the west.
This aircraft is equipped with floor-level lighting, which runs the length of the cabin and will illuminate in the event of reduced visibility, guiding you towards an exit.
Cet appareil est équipé d'un système d'éclairage au plancher tout le long de la cabine, qui s'allume en cas de visibilité réduite et vous guide vers une issue de secours.
Seatbelt and no smoking signs are located throughout the aircraft. Please obey the
Water or using hand sanitizer for at least 20 seconds. If you do require anything during your flight, please don't hesitate to let one of us know. Mesdames et messieurs, la consigne des ceintures sera bientôt éteinte. Cependant, nous invitons à oublier votre ceinture en tout temps.
Even before Canada was officially a country, the area now known as the Golden Triangle was a hub for prospectors looking to strike it rich. The first big discovery in the Golden Triangle was at the Premier Gold Mine, which started operations in 1918. At the time, the Christian Science Monitor called it one of the greatest silver and gold mines in the world. The Snip Mine was discovered in 1964 by Cominco, which stayed dormant until 1986, was drilled in a joint venture with Delaware Resources. The high-grade Snip Mine produced approximately 1 million ounces of gold from 1991 until 1999 at an average gold grade of 27.5 grams per ton. In 1988, after 109 drill holes, tiny exploration companies Stikine Resources and Calpine Resources finally hit the hole they needed at SK Creek. SK would go on to become Canada's highest-grade gold mine and the world's fifth-largest silver producer, with production well in excess of 3 million ounces of gold and 160 million ounces of silver. Despite the gold in the triangle being extremely high-grade, lower gold prices in the late 90s made the economics challenging. Meanwhile, the lack of infrastructure in this remote area of Canada meant that power, labor, and logistics costs were sky-high. But times have certainly changed, for three main reasons: higher gold prices, new infrastructure, and modern discoveries. Today, road access to the area is easier than ever, and a new transmission line has dramatically reduced the cost of power for companies operating in the triangle. And with the opening of ocean port facilities for export of concentrate, in Stewart, BC, the infrastructure is primed and ready. Mountain Boy Minerals is well situated in the American Creek corridor. The company holds a significant land package that is host to a variety of targets with several known mineral occurrences, all of which are underexplored. Mountain Boy Minerals considers the area to have real potential to host one or more deposits. The presence of numerous nearby past producers, an evolving understanding of the geology, and encouraging results and discoveries in the region all support the highly prospective nature of the area.
Well, the Golden Triangle is so exciting because it has yielded several world-class deposits. It's an area that is extremely well endowed with silver, gold, base metals, the works, and people continue to have success exploring now.
My name is Roulston. I'm the President and CEO of Mountain Boy Minerals. I took this position on a couple of years ago, recognizing the enormous potential of the property position that Mountain Boy had acquired. I've been in the mining industry for about 40 years, a variety of positions. I was involved in managing juniors, and I was also involved in major mining companies for a few years. And my last stint was with one of the big U.S. private investment groups as president of their mineral investment group. When I left that, I saw Mountain Boy and saw the enormous potential in these properties and was really keen to get involved in it. So I took control of the company, brought together a really exceptional geological team. We expanded the property position, compiled a mountain of information on those properties going back decades. And putting it all together, we were more convinced than ever that these properties have something of real substance. Mountain Boy's been around for quite some time. It assembled properties going back a couple of decades. They started assembling the properties. And after I got involved, we greatly expanded that property position. And now we're demonstrating the potential of what we got there with the drill bit. We've got a really exceptional team of geologists up there, led by Lucia Tanny. Lucia has had years of experience in that area. She worked, in fact, on one of the other projects of Mountain Boy, and has a really good understanding of the geology of the region. Andrew Wilkins, another seasoned geologist, a lot of experience in the Golden Triangle, first-rate geologist, and an expert rock climber. And one of the few people that can put those skills together and get in and sample areas that no other geologist can get anywhere near. So his skills have really helped us in getting a much better understanding of the broader geological picture on our properties. And they've pulled together several field geologists that are really, really first rate. Now, the fact that we're based in Stewart, as well as the fact that it's a really exceptional project, has attracted some first-rate geological talent to the team. So I know the project is in very good hands under Lucia with the rest of that team.
People often ask me, like, when did you know you were going to be a geologist? And, you know, it's a kind of a hard question to answer because I don't think there ever was one, like, aha moment. But when I think back, you know, when you're in, like, elementary school, they get you to draw portraits of your mom for Mother's Day and stuff like that. So I have this portrait that I drew of my mom, and on one side of her face, I drew a rose, and on the other side, I drew an amethyst crystal. So I think they've kind of always been in my realm of existence. But to be perfectly honest, I was gonna do med school and it wasn't panning out for me. I did like almost all my pre-med, and then I was like, you know, this cohort of people, there's not a lot of camaraderie, it's really competitive, this isn't for me. So I kind of went and was like, well, what other science can I do? And I read the description of geology, and it's like studying the earth and earth's processes and being in the mountains and mountain building events. And I was like, well, that sounds amazing. I love the outdoors, and it's been a great fit.
Hi, I'm Andrew Wilkins. I'm one of the project geologists here for Mountain Boy Minerals, and also their QP, the person that signs off on everything. Yeah, I've been working up in the Golden Triangle since the mid-'80s, and it's almost like my second home, I guess you could say. So my specialty is working in rugged terrain. I've been working in rugged terrain for 30 years now. Yeah, you have to ask yourself, are you going to be able to develop a mine in these really rugged mountains? The reality is, in today's world, we have helicopters, we have incredible technology, and well, look in the area, there's some really good prospects that have been developed here, and they've had major hurdles, and they're making money, you know, and that's what it's all about.
The property, which has a rich mining history, is road accessible and is 22 kilometers north of Stewart, a deepwater seaport.
We've got multiple drill rigs on the property, and we're drilling 3 primary target areas. Now, we're drilling into veins, and veins are notoriously erratic. We sincerely hope, and we're counting on getting some big hits on the grade from these initial drill holes. But whether or not we get the grade, the real objective of the current drilling program is to demonstrate the extent of the veins. We know it's a really extensive geological system spanning several kilometers. We see individual veins that we believe go for hundreds of meters, and if we can drill into these veins in different places, and demonstrate that we've got potential for size, then that will really advance the project enormously. If we get grade as well as size, then that's a bonus.
The 4,000-meter drill program will involve 20 to 30 holes spread across these 3 areas. Like all vein systems, the intensity of the mineralization varies along the vein. Geochron analysis confirmed an early Jurassic age, similar to the Premier Porphyry and other major deposits in the Golden Triangle. Further prospecting and mapping demonstrated that the intrusion runs along American Creek. Exactly how far remains to be seen. Outlining this intrusion has been a game-changer for Mountain Boy, as it is the same age as the early Jurassic intrusion at the heart of the Premier District, the same mineralogy, similar alteration and a similar scale.
Our working hypothesis on the American Creek deposit kind of took its nascence back in 2018 when we did a limited amount of fieldwork. In 2018, we made a few findings, and those included some dikes. And those dikes were interesting to us because we thought that they might be related to some of the Texas Creek plutonic suite. So they went on the map, and we kind of went away, and we came back in 2019 with a much more significant mapping program and sampling program. We had seen some gossans that we decided to put a soil grid over. That soil grid gave some pretty weak copper and gold anomalies, but the beauty of that soil grid was that it actually led us to find an intrusion, which we now call the American Creek intrusion. And this intrusion, you'd hold it up and you'd say, wow, that could come straight out of the Premier Porphyry. It's a 2 feldspar porphyry that we were very excited about. And we decided to do some geochronology on it. So what that meant was we took a big sample, we crushed it down, we separated some zircon, and we did some uranium lead analysis on it. The age that it provided for us was early Jurassic. There are a lot of early Jurassic intrusions in this area that have mineralized deposits.
To support the drill targeting, an airborne LiDAR survey has been flown over the entire property. This provides accurate topographic information, useful for structural mapping and interpretation, topographic control for drill targets, and tying together the results from earlier work that has been conducted by multiple operators working independently on small portions of the current property. Given the steep nature of the eastern portion of the property, the LiDAR survey is invaluable for providing ground control for drilling the epithermal veins, which have yielded high-grade silver in the past.
Some of the topography on the east side of our claims is quite rugged, and we knew we had some drill targets in there. So we knew we wanted really good ground control, and that's what the LiDAR would provide. In addition, LiDAR also has this amazing feature where they can strip off all the vegetation and give you a bare earth image. And what this bare earth image provides is an amazing opportunity for a structural interpretation. So you can see all the lineaments and cracks, like we're talking like 15 centimeter resolution and vertically, and like 10 centimeters horizontally. So you could almost map out boulders with the LiDAR, and we think it's going to be a fabulous tool for us.
The first area to be drilled was the Wolf Moon target. Because Wolf Moon is situated at a higher elevation than the other 2 targets, Mountain Boy wanted to ensure that drilling was completed prior to the first snowfall.
So interestingly, the Premier Mine historically was made up of several different deposits. So the Premier Mine itself and Big Missouri are 2 examples. So what we're seeing at Mountain Boy is we have the historic Mountain Boy mine, which was mined in the early 1900s. And then we also have different mineral occurrences that we've interpreted to be very much like the Mountain Boy mine, and in our opinion, part of the same mineralizing system. So we have this known occurrence of mineralization, and then some distance, and then another less explored mineralization. So in terms of the Premier that had several different deposits over an area, that's what we think we're seeing too.
The newly found Wolf Moon zone is believed to be at a higher stratigraphic level than the veins around the old mine. Notably, the Wolf Moon mineralization is found at the transition between volcanic and sedimentary rocks. This stratigraphic position hosts volcanogenic massive sulfide deposits such as Sk Creek elsewhere in the Golden Triangle. Surface samples with high gold and silver grades were identified within an extensive alteration zone, which has recently emerged from ice cover. The best grab samples were 28.5 grams per ton gold and 1,200 grams per ton silver.
We're tearing down the pads on the Wolf Moon. We are finished all of our high elevation drilling. We're going to wrap this part of the project up. We're going to finish up on MB Silver. We expect to have news throughout the winter, and we're really excited to start planning for the spring.
In 2006, Mountain Boy conducted a 19-hole drill campaign around the old silver mine that lies at the center of American Creek. A small underground drill was used. The average hole length was 47 meters, barely scratching the surface. The focal point was the aptly named high-grade vein, which was the heart of the historic mining. 6 holes in that vein intercepted more than a kilogram of silver over at least a meter, with a highlight being hole 2006-10, which hit 5,258 grams per ton over 5.18 meters. These results have never been followed up, till now.
We're up here on the MB Silver target. We're drilling just up the hill here. With this drill site, we also needed a helicopter landing pad, and one of the ways we thought we could add value was to potentially use that as a drill site. So these drill pads are amazing and robust, and a helicopter can shut down on them, but they're also thousands and thousands of dollars. So provided we get good results off of this drill pad, we're going to basically flip the two. So our drill pad that we're using right now will turn into our helicopter pad, and that's how we're saving money.
The drill pad and helipad are situated higher up the mountain from an existing adit, with the drill pointing down towards the old workings. What does Mountain Boy expect to find at the MB Silver target? Obviously, another 5,000 grams per ton silver hit would be ideal. It's been drilled in the past, and Mountain Boy is really looking to intercept that high-grade mineralization again. Over at the Dorothy target, the drill will pierce the northern extension of the silver-bearing veins onto the recently optioned property. Ongoing geological work, including mapping and structural interpretation, is enhancing the understanding of the mineralization and the orientations of these multiple silver-bearing veins. There are 15 discovered vein occurrences within the Dorothy property, and Mountain Boy has interpreted them to be part of the same hydrothermal system that deposited high-grade silver at the Mountain Boy mine. Could the high-grade vein, and others in the system at MB Silver Mine, extend north 2 kilometers onto Dorothy? The possibility is intriguing.
We know we've found high-grade mineralization on the MB Silver Mine. The Dorothy, it has such an amazing opportunity because there's only been grab samples and very limited drilling there, maybe 2 holes. And so it's a target that's never really been fully drill tested. So to have that opportunity is incredible.
So we're drilling 3 distinct target areas right now. Any one of these could be a company maker. And to the extent that we're seeing results on more than one, and some of the additional targets that we're going to be developing over the coming months, we are intent on demonstrating that this is a district scale project, exactly like the premier district west of us, where there are multiple high-grade deposits over an extensive area. We believe we've got exactly the same as on the premier camp, and this drilling will be the first indication leading us in that direction.
Mountain Boy's theory of multiple mineralizing events at American Creek is about to be tested. We know that 2 of the targets on the property are likely there because of an intrusive heat source discovered to be early Jurassic, the same age as the nearby intrusive at Premier. This is another really good sign that they are onto something big. The company appears to have some excellent intel and personnel behind it. Another bonus, the drilling contractor was on the MB Silver target when it was last drilled. He has a good idea of what he needs to do to be successful there. Mountain Boy Minerals trades on the TSX Venture under the symbol MTB. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for some bonus content inside the Core Shack in Stewart, BC.
So here, so some of the things when I look at this are the structures. So because this rock is all pulverized like this, we know that it's gone through some kind of brittle deformation. So basically these rocks and these rocks have shifted against each other, which has resulted in all this material getting milled up and ground. So we know there's been a lot of movement along this plane. So that's one major thing that stands out to me when I'm just looking at these two boxes, right? Then you can also see that you're looking at two different units. So basically based on the texture, so you can see, and oh, interesting, the contact between those two different units happens at this fall. So that's quite telling in terms of your units and their relationships, right? So this is, well, without water on it and stuff like that, it looks like one of our volcanic units. And this is way more homogeneous and uniform. This is one of the dikes that we've mapped and have found related to mineralization up on Wolf Moon. So that's, you get the big one, and oh, look at that, interesting. At the other contact, we have another fall, right? So these dikes are coming in much younger, intruding into this unit along, and dikes, right? So they're kind of like exploiting the structures that are already there, probably, right? Whether the rock has potassium feldspar. So we do a potassium feldspar stain, which basically involves putting the rock into hydrofluoric acid for 30 seconds. That etches the rock, and then we put it into a stain for 30 seconds. And if the unit has any potassium feldspar in it, it'll turn this bright yellow stain here. So these are halves of each other. And looking at this, it would have been nearly impossible with a naked eye or even hand lens to decide or decipher whether this actually had potassium feldspar in it. So the reason that we do this and collect this data is because it helps us kind of characterize the units and the lithologies. So if you're using your ternary diagrams, the amount of alkali feldspar, which is potassium feldspar, will help pull you over to this. So you know you're going to be looking more at like a syenite or quartz monzonite if you're looking at plutonic rocks, or more of into the volcanics, more of an andesite or a dacite. And so it helps us kind of have an idea of the different lithological units we're looking at.
Once we've gone through all the cutting and the staining and you prepared the core to go to the lab, what happens then?
So basically once we've taken our samples and are shipping them to the lab will take the sample and they'll pulverize it for us. So that basically homogenizes the material, and then they'll take out a little aliquot, so just a fraction of what is pulverized. We use a 4-acid digest, so that basically breaks down all the silicates and all the different minerals in the rock. Then we basically use ICP-MS, which is a mass spectrometer. So they take the unit tiny little bit, they shoot it with a laser that turns the material into a plasma. The plasma comes up, it goes into the flight tube of the mass spectrometer, and basically all the different elements have different weights. So the speed at which it goes down the flight tube tells them how much we have of different elements. So that would include the economic elements like lead and zinc and silver and gold. So that's basically how we go from having drill core and rock to knowing how much, what modal percent of the elements we have in them.
So it's a very involved and detailed process, and that's oftentimes why there's delays in results coming back from the labs, right?
Yeah, no, it's a process that has many, many steps to it, and all of them are very important. And what is the most important at the lab from our point of view is that everything is clean. You do not want any contamination. So can you imagine taking this chunk of rock, crushing it so it's basically a powder, and then having to make sure it's all clean and no residual of that sample before the next sample? So it is a timely process.
This has been a special presentation from Ahead of the Herd. Any statements expressed are subject to change without notice. This video may contain errors, and you should not make any investment decisions based on what you have heard on here. Ahead of the Herd, Richard Mills, its associates, authors, and affiliates are not responsible for errors or omissions.